Hello, friend. You're on the American Stories channel. Here, real-life love stories come alive, amazing, touching, and sincere. Every story is a journey into a world of love, hope, and self-discovery. Dive into our tales, and maybe you'll find a piece of your own life in them. If you enjoy our stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Your support inspires us to share even more amazing stories. A small town somewhere in the American Midwest was waking up slowly, as always. The morning air was fresh, tinged with the scent of coffee and baked goods sold at the local bakery on the corner. Flags fluttered above the post office, and a blue USPS van rolled down the main street. Jack loved this time of day the most, when the daily bustle hadn't started yet, and there was a sense of possibility in the air. His route led him past neat houses with tidy lawns, where elderly neighbors watered their flowers, and children were still asleep. Into mailboxes he dropped bills, ads, postcards, and real letters, the kind everyone waited for the most. He especially liked stopping by one house on Maple Street. It was an old white house with blue shutters, covered in ivy. Amelia Rose had recently moved in there. People didn't know much about her, a young woman from New York, a bit shy, more often seen in the bookstore or outside with her dog. She rarely spoke to the neighbors, but always greeted anyone she met at the store. Today, as usual, Jack slipped several envelopes into her mailbox, standard bills, an invitation to a charity picnic, and one special envelope, a neat white one with a handwritten Amelia Rose on it. He was just looking at the letter when the front door suddenly opened. Amelia stood on the porch in a light robe, hugging a cup of coffee. Her blonde hair was a little messy after sleep, and her gaze was both soft and cautious. "Good morning," she said almost in a whisper, but her voice sounded warm. "Good morning." Jack smiled, handing her the letter. "You have a real letter today." Amelia took the envelope with surprise. She looked carefully at the handwriting, then at Jack. She liked that his smile was sincere, not just polite. "Thank you," she said. "It's been a long time since I got a real letter." Jack nodded, looking her in the eye. "If you want to send a reply, just leave it in this mailbox. I always collect the mail at 8. She smiled a little wider and, hesitating, added, "You're the first person I've had a conversation with here, longer than just, hello. Jack felt a slight thrill. This wasn't just another workday, but something new, something real. He wished her a good day and walked on, while Amelia lingered on the porch, holding the letter to her chest. For Jack, that morning was the start of a story he hadn't expected. And for Amelia, it was the first step toward a new life in the town, a life where, it seemed, friendship and maybe something more was already waiting for her. After the first meeting with Jack, Amelia couldn't calm down for a long time. Her hand still remembered the feel of the fresh envelope, and the words they exchanged on the porch kept echoing in her mind. She sat in her kitchen, slowly drinking coffee, studying the white envelope. It was a letter from her friend Susan in New York, the friend she had left behind when she decided to change her life completely. Amelia carefully opened the letter. On the first page was neat handwriting, "Dear friend, how are you in your little town? I hope you find something good even in the quiet. I miss you. I really do." The letter was long, warm, a little sad, and very sincere. Susan wrote about life in the big city, about new books, about the art exhibit they had once dreamed of visiting together. With every paragraph, Amelia felt the town that had once seemed so foreign becoming a little closer. She remembered walks with her friend in Central Park, noisy cafes, the scent of spring rain in the metropolis. But here, spring was different. It was quieter, with the aroma of apple blossoms and a breeze that rustled the trees above the rooftops. That evening, Amelia sat by the window for a long time, watching Jack return from his shift. She wanted to come out and thank him for the letter, but she didn't dare. She just slightly moved the curtain aside and smiled when he passed by her house. The next morning, Amelia sat down to write a reply. She shared her first impressions of the town, her loneliness, how much she liked the local lemonade at the market, and even her meeting with Jack the mailman, who was so genuine and kind. When she finished, she sealed the envelope and left it in her outgoing mailbox. That day, as Jack collected the mail, he noticed the letter. His heart skipped with joy. Now he felt like a true part of someone's new story. That evening, Amelia saw him again through the window, and this time, she didn't hide, but waved to him. Their eyes met for a moment, and both felt that something special was growing in this little town. The morning sun lit up the little street, and Amelia, as usual, stepped out onto the porch before the mail truck even arrived. This time, waiting in her mailbox was not only an envelope, but also a small package wrapped in brown paper with a New York stamp. She recognized the handwriting instantly. It was Susan again. Back in her kitchen, Amelia unwrapped the package and saw old photographs. Smiling faces on familiar city streets, snapshots from cafes and museums, even a couple of funny selfies from a party. Along with the photos was a small card, so you remember that joy is always nearby, even when everything feels new and unfamiliar. She lingered over the pictures for a long time, sifting through memories as if touching threads connecting her to her previous life. At one point, Amelia even laughed out loud, so sincerely that her dog Ben woke up and lifted his head. The whole day passed with a feeling of gentle sadness mixed with warmth. She stepped outside, holding one of the photographs in her hand. In the yard, Jack was talking with Mrs. Robinson from next door, but when he saw Amelia, he came right over. "You seem in a good mood today," he said, smiling. "Yeah. I just received this." Amelia handed him the photo. "That's my old world, New York. Now it feels so far away." "It's not so far if you can hold it in your hand," Jack replied. "Do you like it here?" She thought for a moment, then answered honestly, "More and more every day. But sometimes, it's scary to leave the past behind." Jack nodded. "I was scared too, when I first started working here. Even a town can feel new for someone who's lived in it all their life." They smiled at each other, and the silence between them felt comfortable and full of understanding. Back inside, Amelia put her favorite photo on the fridge. Now she knew, there were many new memories ahead, and beside her was someone she could trust with even her most precious moments. The night rain had washed the town so thoroughly that even the air felt clearer and fresher. From early morning, Amelia woke up to the sound of raindrops running down the windowpanes. She didn't leave the house for a long time, enjoying the warmth of her blanket, the aroma of coffee, and the rustle of book pages. Her dog Ben hovered near the window, wanting a walk, but Amelia waited for the rain to lighten. Finally, when it became just a drizzle, the familiar USPS van appeared on the street, with Jack behind the wheel in a yellow raincoat and rubber boots. He cheerfully greeted passers-by, despite the puddles and soggy lawns. Stopping at her house, he pulled a letter and several newspapers from his bag. Amelia opened the door, umbrella in hand, and stepped onto the porch. Jack smiled. "Not even the rain can stop the mail," he joked, handing her the letter. She took the envelope gratefully and remarked, "It's strange, but the rain doesn't bother me today. The town actually looks cozy." Jack nodded. "After the rain, everything feels cleaner, a little newer. Do you feel at home here yet?" Amelia thought, not quite yet. But every new letter, every conversation makes the town less strange. "Yesterday my neighbor even invited me for tea." "That's a start," Jack encouraged. In small towns, everyone is cautious at first, but once you're in, it's for good. Ben sniffed around a puddle. Jack laughed, and Amelia felt, for the first time, that she truly wasn't alone. She thanked Jack, wished him a good day, and returned inside. Sitting by the window with her tea, she read her new letter and thought, maybe life isn't always as bright as in the big city, but here there's a place for simple happiness, happiness that comes with rain, morning mail, and the warm words of new friends. Amelia woke up to a knock at the door. She was surprised, Jack usually didn't disturb her so early. Looking out the window, she saw him on the porch, worried, in his raincoat, mailbag over his shoulder. When she opened the door, he held out an envelope, a little smudged, with dew or rain still on one corner. "I'm sorry, Amelia," Jack began, taking off his cap, "something unfortunate happened today. Your letter accidentally fell out of my bag. I searched all along my route and, luckily, found it under the old oak by the road. Here it is, a little crumpled, but intact." Amelia accepted the letter, smiling slightly. "Thank you, Jack. I appreciate your care. Honestly, I'm already used to things not being perfect in this town, but at least they're genuine." "Was this letter special?" Jack asked carefully. "It's from my brother in California," she admitted. "He writes rarely, so I was really waiting for it." Jack sighed with relief. "I'm glad I found it. Sometimes, I thought this was just a job. Now I realize, even a small envelope can be a whole world for someone." Amelia agreed. "That's true. As a child, I waited for letters from my grandfather. He always signed them with a special pen. It felt like a little piece of home came with every letter." They stood under the porch, listening to the rain fade. For the first time, Amelia invited Jack in for coffee. They talked for a long time about travels, books, childhood memories. That morning became more than just a routine meeting, it was a conversation both of them had been waiting for. After that, Jack always checked his bag extra carefully, and Amelia realized that even a lost letter could be the start of a new friendship. In summer, the town was getting ready for a big celebration, Independence Day. Flags were hung in the center, kids drew stars and stripes on the sidewalks, and the local post office, as every year, held an open house for everyone. Amelia received a special invitation from Jack. For the first time since moving here, she wanted to be among people, not just watching from the sidelines. The post office was decorated with balloons and banners, music played from speakers. In the lobby, near a portrait of Benjamin Franklin, tables were piled with snacks, stamp collections, and themed souvenirs. Jack met Amelia at the door, helped her find a place, and introduced her to his co-workers and townsfolk. Jack showed her how the old sorting machine worked and let her try stamping a real postcard. Amelia laughed as Jack's friends joked about postal adventures and funny stories from their mail carrier lives. In the afternoon, they held a contest for the best letter. Everyone could write a few lines about what the post meant to them. Amelia hesitated, but Jack encouraged her. She wrote briefly, "From the heart, the post is a thread that connects hearts. Here I found my place, and that's thanks to the mailman who became my friend." When the contest ended, it was her letter that was read aloud from the stage. Amelia blushed with nerves, but she heard kind applause. In the evening, after the festival, Jack and Amelia sat on the post office steps with glasses of lemonade, watching the lanterns and enjoying the simple things. This day left her with a true sense of belonging. For the first time, Amelia felt she was no longer a stranger. And Jack realized that for someone, his job was much more than just delivering mail, he was the bridge between an old life and a new one. A few weeks passed after the festival. Amelia felt her life in town was different. She now knew many neighbors by name, and walks down Main Street became a pleasant routine. But most of all, she looked forward to the evenings when Jack returned from work and they could talk on the porch. One warm evening, Jack approached her house not in uniform but in everyday clothes. He looked a bit shy, holding a small paper bag of bakery cookies. "Amelia," he began, "I was wondering, would you like to take a walk with me to the lake? Tonight's sunset should be beautiful, and there's lemonade by the shore, the best in the state, they say." Amelia felt her voice tremble. "I'd love to. I haven't been to the lake in ages." They walked the narrow streets, talking about school adventures, childhood, favorite movies. Jack pointed out places from his own childhood, told funny stories about his first days as a mailman. The evening air was filled with the scent of flowers, and local families gathered by the lake. They sat on a bench under a willow tree, drank lemonade, and watched the sun slowly sink into the water. Amelia felt the peace she'd missed in the big city. "You know, I'm starting to love this place," she said, looking at the waves. "I'm glad," Jack replied, "because there are people here who want you to stay." Their walk ended when the first stars appeared. They walked home in silence, knowing there was now something more than just acquaintance between them. That evening marked a new beginning for both. For the first time, Amelia felt happy in her new town, and Jack realized his feelings for her were more than just friendship. The new morning brought Amelia a surprise. In her mailbox was a plain white envelope with no return address, just, "For Amelia." "Personal," written on it. She picked it up with a hint of anxiety. The handwriting was unfamiliar, and it was nothing like the other letters she'd received. Opening it, Amelia found a neat sheet of paper and a short note. "Don't be afraid to open your heart. In this town, there's something more for you than loneliness. Share your stories, and you'll find a new world." The letter caught her off guard. Who could have sent it? Names of her new acquaintances flashed through her mind, but her heart told her this wasn't just a friendly prank. All day, Amelia pondered the stranger's words. She remembered how hard it had been to meet people, how she kept her thoughts to herself for so long, afraid to seem like an outsider. Now, as the town slowly opened up to her, she felt ready to move toward others. That day, she went to the cafe and talked with the barista about a favorite book. She helped old Mrs. Robinson carry groceries from the market. In the evening, she visited the library, where kids gathered for story night. Her stories about New York delighted them, and they asked question after question about skyscrapers and busy streets. Amelia felt the town was accepting her. For the first time in ages, she came home happy and inspired. While closing the curtains for the night, she saw Jack on the street, waving to a neighbor. She ran onto the porch. "Jack," she called. "I got a strange letter today. Was it your doing?" Jack raised his eyebrows, surprised. "No, but if it made you happy, it's a good letter." They laughed, and Amelia thought, the mystery of the letter wasn't as important as the change it brought. Now she knew, a real town isn't buildings, but the people you share your days and stories with. That night, Amelia couldn't sleep. Her window was ajar, letting in the town's sounds, the faint hum of the road, crickets, sometimes a distant barking dog. Her mind was swirling with thoughts, about the strange letter, about new friendships, about how quickly her life had changed. Unable to stay inside, she put on a light jacket, stepped outside, and slowly walked toward the main square. At night, the town was different. The streetlights made warm little islands of light, house shadows seemed bigger and more mysterious. On a bench by the post office, she saw a familiar figure, Jack, looking up at the stars. "Can't sleep?" she asked, coming closer. "No," Jack smiled, "sometimes it feels like night is the best time for important talks." They sat together, quiet for a while, listening to the peaceful night, and then began to talk. Amelia told him about her loneliness in the big city, her fears and hopes, how hard it was to leave the past behind. Jack shared childhood stories, admitted that he, too, sometimes felt alone, even surrounded by people. "I always thought being a mailman was just a job," he said, "but now I realize, I'm part of someone's story. It's important to know someone is waiting for you." "I waited for you," Amelia confessed softly. They sat there for a long time, holding hands, each thinking of all that was still ahead. As dawn broke over the town, Amelia felt calm and confident for the first time since moving. "Thank you, Jack," she said before heading home. "Without you, I wouldn't have discovered this new world." Jack just smiled. They both knew, sometimes the most important letters are conversations under the stars. Autumn arrived. Leaves on Maple Street glowed orange and gold, the town was filled with the scent of hot chocolate and fresh pastries. Amelia was no longer the girl from the big city whom everyone avoided. She became part of the community, helping at the library, volunteering at charity fairs, reading to children in the park. Jack, too, felt his life had changed. He delivered mail with even more inspiration, knowing that somewhere on Maple Street, someone was waiting for him, not just a recipient, but a true friend. One warm autumn day, Amelia received another letter. This time, it was a New York envelope from Susan, but the handwriting wasn't hers. Inside was a drawing by a child and a short message. "Thank you for inspiring me not to be afraid of new things. Your friend, Jenny, 8 years old." Amelia was touched. She realized, her story, like all others, was intertwined with the lives of strangers. Letters are not just paper, but threads that sew the world into a single fabric. In the evening, sitting with Jack on the porch, sipping hot apple cider, she said, "I'm grateful for every letter you brought me. Most of all, for the fact that you came into my life." Jack hugged her and replied, "The most important letters aren't written in ink, they're written with the heart." They watched the sunset together, knowing that many more chapters of their shared story lay ahead.